Hey guys, this is Joe. Welcome to the 10th tutorial of Unity Code Tutorials. I've created here a model of what we're going to use for actually aiming the turret and pointing. I've got to take my hat off real quick. It's driving me nuts. Okay. So, what we want to do here is in the last video we have our trigger that tells us it's time to fire. So the next step is going to be to rotate the turret toward the target and then actually shoot a projectile. So this model here, I have a pointer and a target. This is how I'm going to show you what we need to do in order to actually point the turret. So check this out. If we play this game, the pointer is actually going to look at the target. See, I'm using this test script here and I have the speed. I can actually change the speed. Let's make it 0.005. So notice as I move this target, it moves, but it doesn't move right away. We don't want it to always be looking. We want it to rotate towards it. If it was always looking right at the target, it would just make the game too hard, because there would be no getting away from the turret of the tank. So we want it to always rotate towards it. So the goal is going to be it's going to rotate toward the target. Once it gets to the target, it's going to fire a projectile, which we haven't done that part yet, but this is just the model. So I'm going to show you what's going on here. If we go look at the pointer test script and we actually dig into the script, see what's going on. Should be loaded up here. Okay, so here's what's going on here. We have a vector 3 target direction, and we're setting that equal to the target position. Now the target is the transform of that sphere that we were just looking at, right? Of this. That's the target. So we're setting it equal to the position of that minus the current position. Transform.position, the current position. The reason we're doing that is that's giving us the relative position. Okay, so let's say that our tank is on 200 and our target is on 100. That means the tank, if you were to take the target position 100 minus 200, which I just said is where the tank is, you would get negative 100, which would be the relative position, because the target is then negative 1 on the x to the left of where the tank is, right? So if that's the case, that's which way we want the turret to point. So that's why we do that. By the way, I'm getting all this straight from here. If we go to Unity, Quaternion.LookRotation, which if you notice we're using this down here. And if you need an example of anything, most things in the Unity scripting reference actually have an example. And this is what they did. So if you ever run into this situation with anything else, you're like, oh, how do I actually use this? Because this is what I did, to be honest. Looked this up. Quaternion.LookRotation. This is an example of how to use it, except I'm just going to walk you through what all these things mean, right? Because you can take that and you can amend it and you can do what you want to make it fit your game. Okay, so what this does is it gives us the relative position of the target from the object that we want to look at the target. Now this next vector 3 here is the new direction. So what we're going to do there is vector 3.RotateTowards, Transform.Forward. Now rotate towards, if I were to do this, when we first open this up, it tells you what's going on here. So you have the current. Rotate towards, what it does is it's going to give you a rotation that's on its way to looking at the object, but it doesn't jump right to the object. You can look this up on the scripting reference too. It's called interpolation. So we give it the current rotation and the rotation that we're rotating towards, and we give it a time, max, radians, delta. They have these fancy terms, so it's basically just you have the speed, and then I would just use 0 at the end of this. That's what the example used. That's what I'm using right now. If you want to get fancy later, you can play around with that, but you don't need to. basically all it is where's the starting rotation, where's the ending rotation, and how fast do we want it to rotate. And then based on that speed, it's going to figure a rotation that's in between the starting and the ending rotation. And then it's going to feed that out. Now it's not going to rotate your object yet. This is giving you a vector 3, which you then have to assign to the rotation, which we're doing on this line here. But yeah, this is called interpolation, because you're taking a starting and an ending point, giving it a time that you want that to happen in, and it's going to figure out in between the starting and the ending, where are we at right now? Interpolation, that's what that is. Okay, so you take that value, you don't have to memorize that term, you know, that's just what they call it. If you want to get all fancy, look on the, you know, Unity scripting reference, that's what they're going to talk about, but whatever term you want to use, whatever helps you understand it, call it that, you know, whatever. Okay, so within reason, of course, you know, if you talk to other people about Unity, you know what I'm saying. Okay, so then the next line, Transform.RotateTowards equals Quaternion.LookRotation. That's what I just showed you on the scripting reference here, where I got this. Now a quaternion is a fancy math term for a rotation. Quaternion is it has all the components of a rotation built into it. I don't fully understand it. You don't have to fully understand it. That's why we have Unity, because there's gurus that have gone ahead of us and figured all that stuff out. We do have to know that it's called a quaternion, though. So Quaternion.LookRotation is going to set a rotation in the quaternion that looks at in a certain direction. So the new direction that we just figured out, based on our interpolation, you know, how quickly do we want to rotate the turret of the tank towards the target that we're shooting at? Once we figure out that rotation, which we needed the target, you know, we needed the target direction to do that, because that way we could get the ending direction that it's going to be rotating at. So that's why we did that. Get the direction we're rotating at, right? Figure out how far in between the starting and ending rotation are we, and then actually assign, you know, get down to the nitty-gritty, figure out what the quaternion is, the actual rotation, when you get down to it, that we need to assign to the current transform rotation. Once we do that, that's when it will actually rotate. So what we're going to do, and you already saw how it works, I showed at the beginning of the video. If you want, at this point, pause the video, go back, look at that, and see, having known this knowledge. But what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to translate it into our tank. Okay? This is a test script. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select both of these and deactivate them. We want to assign this to our turret, right? So our turret script. So I'm going to actually take all this, copy it, Control C, go to the turret script. Now, at this point, what's going on, right? In the last video, what did we determine? Well, under vehicle script, we have this on trigger enter, and we say, okay, this is when we need to fire at the enemy. Well, there's more going on to this than that. So when the vehicle gets there, this is the point where we need to tell our turret to start rotating. So think about this. Okay, so every frame, this vehicle is going to decide what to do. Every frame it's moving forward, right? It's moving forward. So we need to stop. We need to think about, what do we want to happen every frame? We want it to move forward, right, until it hits that trigger. How do we know if it's hit the trigger? Because it will do this. But then we need to actually activate something to tell it, at this point, stop moving forward, right? Stop moving forward. This is a good point to use the booleans. So I'm going to come up here, I'm going to separate, this is going to be private. We're going to do private bool for boolean. That's what you call it, bool, true or false value. And okay, so if you hit a trigger of something you want to start shooting at, let's call it engaged. Right? So you equal to false. The default value would have been false, but I'm going to set it equal to false just because, so that it's very visually obvious what it's set to. Okay. So then what we can do here, we only want this to move forward if it's not engaged, right? So we make our if statement here. If not, I think I went over this. If you put an exclamation in front of something, it means it makes it the opposite, right? Not. This would be read if not engaged. Or in other words, if engaged is equal to false. You could also do it this way. If you feel more comfortable doing it this way. Two equal signs actually, because it's comparison. If I could type right, that'd be cool. That'd be super cool. Okay. If engaged is equal to false. Okay. Turn my phone down. Dang. Okay. Is the same as if not. If not engaged. I need to get it together here. So if it's not engaged, we want to move forward. Else. So at this point, right, which would mean if it is engaged, if it makes it more easy for you to understand, is engaged, you can put a comment there so you know exactly what's going on right here. So if it's not engaged, we're moving forward. If it is engaged, now what do we need to do? We need to rotate the turret. If the turret's not yet rotated, so we need a bool for that, right? So first of all, this engaged, we need to assign that to true when this happens. I'm going to go ahead and leave the debug statement in there. So engaged, we're going to set that equal to true right here. So that's when we're engaged with something. Now what are we engaged with? So we're going to need a variable of what we're actually engaged with, what to shoot at. And also, have we rotated our turret, and is our turret facing the object? Okay, so why don't we go ahead and make a private transform, because all we need is the position, because we're just going to point and shoot, right? Transform target, okay? So now we need to assign that down here based on this other, okay? So we're engaged. I'm actually going to do this because before we're engaged, I feel like we should have our target figured out. So we're going to set our target equal to other, which is the collider.transform. Transform component attached, that this collider is attached to. Pretty much every component you're going to come across in Unity is going to have a lowercase, transform property that you're going to be able to access, so you can get the transform. That's just pretty standard. Always try it. If it doesn't work, it's going to give you an error in Unity and tell you, okay, but 99% of the time, it's there. Whether you're dealing with a collider, a rigid body, game object, everything that you're going to generally deal with is going to have a transform. If anything doesn't, let me know about it, because I'll make a video about that. Okay, so we should have our target assigned, right? Now just to test that everything's okay, I've made a couple changes. I'm going to save it, make sure everything's compiling, which it's not. So let's look here. Component.transform is a property, but a type was expected. Okay, so here's the good thing to do here, just double click. It should come up. All it is, I did that lowercase. It's supposed to be uppercase because we want the type there. Okay. So if we come back here, it should compile just fine. Not a problem. Come back. Okay, so we've got our target and we've got the fact that we're engaged. So if we're engaged, we want to make sure it's rotated. We're going to need a boolean to tell us whether or not it's rotated or not. Now I'm going to put the booleans together actually. Private bool. Let's call this locked on. Okay, so locked on equals false. Okay, so within this, we're going to say if it's not locked on, then we need a reference to our turret. We're going to rotate our turret here, right? So, if we come back out here, if we look at our tank, how it's set up, we have our tank, and then where's our pylon? Well, here's the thing. We can come in here if this ever happens. These are all the parts of the tank, right? Now, okay, I'm sorry, I feel like I forgot. I thought there was something called pylon, but I'm not seeing it in here. So what's the deal? What's the deal? Okay, you know what? You know what the problem is? I'm thinking of the turret. The turret has something called pylon. The tank, we have not even attached a script to it yet. I'm sorry, I'm so turned around for it, but it's okay. Back on track. The pylon is the thing on the turret that rotates. The tank, we're going to just call that the, I mean, it's still a turret, but, you know, this is the turret. We don't want to get confused. We'll just call it the tank cannon or something. I don't know. So we need to figure out which piece actually needs to rotate. So what we can do is we can come down in here, right? So this is the whole tank. Come down in here. I'm just arrowing down through these, looking for the piece that needs to rotate. Okay? Sit, hover over this. It looks like that's it, right? So I'm gonna see these other pieces are part of the turret. What's that? Okay, that's gonna need to rotate too with this, it looks like. Okay, so if we have this, let's rename this cannon and put these three things inside of it, right? So now if we rotate this, it should rotate the whole thing. Okay? So this cannon, this is actually the turret. So we're going to need a public game object, right? Now here's the thing. These are references to prefabs that are instantiated. I'm going to put it down here because it kind of goes with this group of stuff of what we're doing right now with the, you know, rotating and firing. So we're going to say public. Actually, it only needs to be transform, I believe. Public transform cannon. So we're going to do that. Save that. Come back out here. Got the cannon. So this is the cannon that we just figured out where it was. We're going to assign that. I'm going to save the scene. Now if we come back in here, we've got the cannon. So the cannon is what actually needs to be rotated. So this is where we're going to put this code, right? Except we're going to change it. So vector3 target direction equals, instead of target dot, well, is it target? Did we call it target? It is. Okay, so target dot position minus transform dot position. So that's the same. Now we have our new direction, vector3 rotate towards transform forward, which is our starting position, and then target direction and our speed. Now speed we haven't actually defined in this script yet. We're going to put that up here. This is with the stats of the vehicle. So we're going to say public float cannon speed. We're going to start it off slow. Remember to put our F after that. Okay? Something went wrong. Okay. Control Z instead of Control S. So instead of this, Canon speed. Boom. Okay. And then we're going to rotate Transform.RotateTowards equals Quaternion.LookRotation, new direction. So that should work. So now at this point, it should do that. When it engages, it should rotate towards. Now we want to test this before we move any further forward. We want to try this out. So, check it out. This turret, right? It's got this big thing. So we're not going to really see it rotate because it's already dead on, right? So what we're going to want to do is we're going to take this, move it over here a little bit. You know, it might even get a little crazy. Increase its speed a little bit. Save the scene. Now it should hit it. So we're going to highlight this. We're going to start the game. Come in here, clear everything. So I want to see when it hits. Okay, so we see that something went wrong. Something clearly went wrong. So if we look at our logs, I don't remember seeing our fire thing that's going on here. Other .tag is enemy tag. So is the tag of this tank still enemy tag? It looks like it is. No, the tank is enemy target. Enemy target. So we know that this part happened. Trigger, enter called, other.name. So what actually happened here? Okay, so we need to think backwards. The script is attached to the tank. Okay? Then the other, we're checking if the other.tag is enemy target. What did it hit? It hit the turret, which is not an enemy. Now remember, at first I had this script on the other side. It was on the turret in the previous video. So what we might need to do here is change it and put a tag on these other ones. Okay, so why don't we add a tag called friendly target. Calling it target because it's something that might be targeted. You know, enemy target, something that might be targeted. We're going to keep that tag because we might need it for later, depending on what's going on. So friendly, we have friendly target. Stop here. Okay. The reason for that is because we're actually playing the game. So we have friendly target. We've added our tag. We're going to save the project. Now at this point, come in here, friendly target. Pretty sure I did not capitalize it. I did capitalize it. Look at that. Okay. Friendly target. Okay, now let's do this again. See what happens. Should stop. It didn't stop. Didn't stop. Why didn't it stop? Why didn't it stop? This is getting annoying, right? Right, but I want you to see my troubleshooting process. I don't want you to think everything just magically works. There's always stuff like this going on. Okay, so could our collider be the problem? We've got our box collider here. We are tagged as an enemy target. We've got our vehicle script. The turret is tagged. Okay, we added our tag, but we didn't actually assign this as a friendly target. I'd say for sure that was the problem, but I'm sure that was the problem because look at that. Okay, look, there's rotating going on. Now it's rotating the whole tank. But notice what did happen right. It rotated it and it pointed it at that, right? Okay, so now we're going to have some fun with this. Being that this is still engaged, we haven't set anything, right? This bool, for whether or not we're engaged, it's been set to true, and we have nothing in place to ever set it to false. So what we can do, we can click on the tank, we can change our cannon speed, we can increase it a little bit, and then wherever we move this tank, the cannon should be pointing at that. We can do this just to confirm that no matter which way the tank comes from, it's going to work. Okay? Now here's the problem. It rotated the whole tank. See, it's rotating the whole tank and not just the cannon. Now why is that? Well, if we go over our vehicle script, we can end the game now at this point. If we go in our vehicle script, what did we do? It's locked on. See, we set the rotation, Transform.RotateTowards. The vehicle script is attached to the tank. What we really want to do, see, is we have our cannon transform. We haven't actually used that yet, right? Cannon, which is of type transform, so we can do cannon.rotation because rotation is a member of transform. Cannon.rotation. Set that up. Same deal. Let's start this up. Now just the cannon should rotate. Okay, so the good news is only the cannon rotated. The bad news is it didn't rotate the right way. And that probably has to do with the modeling that happened with these items. So what we're probably going to have to do is come into the tank. You know, there's probably some funky things going on with the modeling of these objects because these are all just like, you know, straight up meshes. So what we can do is we can create an empty object, and we can put that right here. And we can put the cannon inside of that. Okay? So we can say that this is the cannon. Now we need to make sure this is done right. Because its forward rotation is going to be Z, which is the blue axis here. Right? So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to take, okay, before we put that inside of there, this is the empty object. The empty object. We want to put it inside. We want to put it inside of the cannon first. Then we want it says position to 0, 0, 0 to put it in the right spot. Then we want to take it back out. Okay. Now we want to rotate it so it faces the right way. So we're going to rotate this -90. See how it looks locally, okay? So the blue is, and I figured that out just by starting to rotate and seeing which one was moving, you know. So now it seems like it's facing the right way. So now we can throw it back inside of the tank, which is what we want. And then the cannon goes inside of it. See, so blue is going forward. So now, if we go here, sorry, if this is kind of confusing because I'm going through all this pretty fast, just pause the video, watch it again. These are things that I've covered in earlier videos, for the most part, I believe. Figuring out how to get things in the right position, kind of, making it a child of something, setting the position to 0, then taking it out, rotating it. It's just orientating it properly. That's all it really is. Okay. So now at this point, the thing that's assigned to Canon, we need to now make this because it's now different than the Canon underneath it. So this is the Canon. I mean, we can even call this the Canon root. See, if we change that name, it's going to change it there because it's the same object. Now, to be honest, I don't know for 100% sure if that's going to work right, but I hope so. Let's try it out. Okay. We're there, and it is not rotating right. It is not. So what exactly happened? Is it the speed? Crank the speed up? Oh, it was the speed. Look at that. Look at that. Because now it's looking at it. See, and I made the speed slow just to start out, but we can always change that. So now we're going to move the tank around and see. Look at that. I panicked for a minute, but it is only, I'm going to zoom in so you believe me about this. It's only the turret that's turning. Okay, how long is this video? This is a half hour. We need to end this. The next video we're going to actually shoot the projectile. But look at that. It's looking in the right direction. Now the up and down of it, is that changing? See, even that's looking at. Now which area is it looking at? If it's actually looking too high above the turret, that could also be a modeling thing. Based on how the things are modeled, the center point of this model might actually be above. So we might have to say, okay, look at it, but always, just look straight across. That's something we can do. In fact, I know this video is long, but I think looking straight across is actually a good idea. So, what we can do, when we make our new direction, so we have our new direction of which way it's supposed to face, but then when we do our look rotation, all we have to do is make the Y value, which is the up and down, the height value, the same as the current value. So we can create in this a new vector 3, because it takes vector 3, which new direction is, so we can create a new vector 3. Then we need x, y, and z, right? So we take the x of the new direction, then for the y, we do transform.position.y, and then for z, we do new direction.z. Then we need to close the parentheses. We do that. I know this video is long. I'd rather thoroughly explain things than just skim through it just to make a video short, It's important that, you actually understand this. Now, I will take a brief moment to say this. Very soon, within the next couple months, if not sooner, I plan to have other playlists on my channel that are not so beginner, where you've already watched this, or you've already watched other tutorials, or what have you, and you already know some things, and I just want to make a project and go through it quick and not over-explain everything. This is my over-explaining playlist, because this is my super beginners, my first playlist, and I want to get it out there that, this is the troubleshooting process, these are all the processes. And that's the purpose of this playlist. So, now before I actually play that, back to the game, let's come back here, and the Canon speed, let's just make it 0.01, save that. Okay, so when it gets here, this is going to be our last hurrah before the end of this video. Is it rotating? Is it working? Do we see it moving? Yep, we do. Yep. It's working. Seems like different things have to be different speeds, so that's one of those it's one of those balancing things. Okay, so here, check this out. Make the speed enough, first of all, because I want it to keep updating. Now, it seems to be messing with it, right? It's messing with stuff. Because now it's looking straight up and stuff. So the script here actually didn't fully work. And that could be because if you do the Quaternion.LookRotation, it just kind of messes things up. Because it's thinking about, I guess it's thinking about the height of the tank, and we're actually using the height of the cannon, and it just kind of messes things up. So, to be honest, what I would do is I would scratch this idea. I might actually shoot for the midpoint of the object. But then, okay, so what you can do is you can look at this and figure new direction. What is it equal to? You're going from Transform.Forward to target direction. So when you're reassigning things, I mean, what I would do, I would just take away the fanciness here, because it seemed like it was working better before. Okay. Now here's the thing. See, so that's working perfectly. So what do we need to do to make it just look straight across? I really thought that what I had done is what would have done that. But I think we're just going to address that in the next video. I'm going to do some exploring off camera, and then we're going to get back into it. So, we have made some good progress. Thank you for watching this. And like I said, if you're looking forward to the point where you don't actually see all this troubleshooting and you just see bing bang boom, this is how you do it, my future playlists are going to be more like that. I'm going to do all this off camera, make sure I fully understand how something works first. The reason I'm doing all this on camera is because I want you to see the process. That's kind of, for me that was very helpful to know that things aren't going to magically just work all the time. We're going to have to kind of do trial and error, figure out what's going on. But in the future, I'm going to have playlists like that that'll be more fun, even for me. I'm looking forward to it. So, anyways, that's enough of that. Thank you for watching. This has been Unity Code Tutorials, and I look forward to seeing you in the next tutorial. You guys have a good night.